All right, folks. Simon here. This is another 2021 TAC Open tournament match. This is going to be fwwwwwibib versus ManaT. And fwib currently the number one in the standings of this tournament with 31 points. Still got that next game to play, or the next match to play versus ManaT at this moment, so he could get up to 35 points, which would be a crazy lead. And then ManaT down here at ninth place, but he's got two matches to play, so he could potentially get up there into that top three space if he plays well enough. So if we take a look here, fwib ranked number 2 on playtac.com, ManaT down here number 18, but both strong players, and really looking forward to watching this game. And I also have with me in the commentary box, I have Alion02, who is currently ranked number 2 in the standings. All right, so we've got Jason Corner opening right here, and fwib going for that classic Knights opening that he has essentially coined and gotten popular in this tournament. I know I've been using it as white. Let's see how... Ooh, ManaT going for this play here. I wonder if he's going to pull my opening as black. He is. He's going for that edge crawl, playing the opening that I sort of started for this tournament. I know Alion02 has also been using that a little bit in this tournament as well.
Indeed.
I don't think it's particularly strong. I think there are some easy ways to really thwart it, but it has had some success. At least it did against ManaT when I played it against him, and he was very upset that he lost to an edge crawl when I edge crawled him as black. So maybe he's going for the same thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how fwib counters it.
It looks like he's going for just placing ahead. Black drops that capstone there, and this is where white's capstone comes down. So now black's vertical threat is essentially going to be non-existent here. Black's going to have to deal now with white's horizontal one. I think I am interested. I don't know why he played over here at D3 instead of maybe at C3. But now we've got a tack threat from white. Black can fill in here at C3 to cut off that tack threat, but it could be easily renewed by another placement, say at C2.
I believe that is... Okay, no.
Instead goes for the capture. All right, white now continuing to place.
Maybe ManaT now wants to play B4.
I was thinking that also, to make that connection and then be able to come down with the capstone on C3 once D2 is placed. That could be the idea here. ManaT has a little bit of room to breathe. He could also play down at A2 and get ready to cut off that horizontal anchor point that white has been building towards. Or could play at F3 to make his own anchor point on that other side of the board and keep white from building into a vertical along the F column. All of those are viable tactics, I would say.
Instead, ManaT goes for another capture with the capstone.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I agree with that capstone movement there, because he's continuing to move this capstone over and over and over again, just stacking up all these pieces underneath it. And that's going to become a problem for him later when he wants to get more mobility on that capstone and be able to do some really strong moves with it. Also, he's not getting any flats on the board. White is able to keep placing and placing and placing and basically just keep running out those reserves and going to be the one to decide when this game ends.
Yes, and now fwib is transitioning to a vertical threat on the right side of the board.
Yep, that's why I think that it might have been a better choice for black to play over there at F3 instead of making that capstone capture, which didn't do too much for him. Now placing up at F5 to interrupt that, I imagine, yep, it just an E5 placement there to go around that flat stone placement.
The benefit of these two captures from ManaT is that the capstone is now in time to potentially stop any disaster happening on the right side of the board. So maybe it's not all that bad.
All right, and black comes over with that capstone yet again, and I think that's interesting. Really suboptimal moves, I'd say, unless he's got some sort of plan down the line to be able to do something with this capstone. It seems like he's just struggling here. And now we've got another attack threat from white, being able to come over with e5 to the right onto f5 is a road. It feels like really suboptimal play for ManaT, and I know he's a much better player than this. So I'm surprised that that this is going on. Maybe I'm not seeing something that he is, but it just seems like he is not playing to his normal ability.
The flat capture onto f4 now seems to stop the vertical threat quite nicely.
It does, but now we've got white building up on c4, and what that's doing is that's making, again, more vertical threats, but also more threats to connect horizontally over onto the other side of the board. And it also cuts off black's ability to go for that vertical or that horizontal line across on the 4 row. And so that d4 placement, I guess it builds a citadel, which is nice, but white's just continuing to build out there, going for this horizontal line and also cutting off black's ability to go for the vertical and horizontal. Let's take a look at the flat count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plus 2 Comey in this tournament. So 11 for black. So black is ahead in terms of flat count, but it is quite early in this game. We can see that black does have the opportunity to make attack threat by placing here at b4. That would be attack threat, but easily stopped by white, and at the same time, white would be making attack threat of their own that would require a capture.
Indeed. Perhaps it's better to play c5 down.
C5 minus would work and would make it so white is unable to immediately renew that threat, but it would also make it
captive, yeah.
Yeah, but it would also make it so c4 could be recaptured quite easily.
Instead, ManaT goes for b4.
All right, now we're going to see the c6 minus, I'm assuming, and there we go. Now it's attack threat for white. How will black respond? Potentially with a d4 left? He does have that capstone that can move over onto d4 and eventually win a capture war. Whether or not he wants to do that is another story. All right, he does do the d4 left move. Let's see how white responds. I doubt we're going to see a c5 minus here. 2c5 minus, while it would be able to interrupt the threat, it would also allow that capstone to get that stack. So he does bring the capstone of his own upward. Now let's see how black responds to this. He could decide to still move over on to c4. It would be a less powerful move than if c5 had come down, but I'm not really sure what else he's got in store because this white capstone really wants that stack on c4.
Interestingly enough, the white capstone captures the stack on c4, it's only got a +2 move, so it's potentially not a disaster.
But it's capstone mobility. I like that wall from black. That is a strong wall. It's able to capture down onto c5. c5 really has nowhere to go except for c4, and then the capstone will go ahead and take it. So that wall is a good offensive wall, and it's setting up to make a strong +3 flat count differential move going to the right onto d5 and e5. So being able to come down and then jump and spread over here. I think that's a pretty solid move, and I think it'll be interesting to see what white does to combat this. White likely will not be moving this capstone over onto c4. Oh, does go for it, because smashing this is a good way to prevent that positive flat count differential move. However, it would also give a good opportunity for black to make some headway with some other threats. While it wouldn't be a losing move, it would be a risky move for sure. And let's see if he goes for the smash or if he makes some other play here. He may decide to place at b3. If he does place at b3, an interesting move. Oh, no, he's going down with it. Interesting. I was going to say, if he did place at b3, and this went to the right with the wall, he could bring this whole capstone stack down and make attack threat horizontally. But that doesn't look like it's going to be the case here. Black filling in now at d4, trying to go for that vertical threat by placing down an e1 on the next turn and then spreading out this wall stack.
Also renews the citadel.
Also does renew the citadel, and that is a strong formation there for black. Though it does offer white the opportunity to make a +2 move by coming over onto d4 with that capstone. So, does offer up some positive flat count differential moves for white.
Indeed. That does seem fairly strong now. Well, maybe not now, because now it doesn't actually threaten anything, but yeah, now it would be nice.
All right, looks like white is going for that vertical threat now, being able to come over onto d4 and connect up into this area, and he's got this anchor point up at f6 that he can connect to with either e6 or f5. In addition to that, he's also built down here onto c1, and this is also an opportunity to come across for a horizontal along the bottom on the 1 row, and so that's pretty nice as well. Let's see how black responds to this here.
I like Flip's position.
Yeah, Flip's position is pretty strong. I would say that he has the advantage here in terms of positioning, even though black does have the advantage in terms of flat count at the moment. The flat count isn't going to come into play just yet, but it is important to keep track of it at this early stage in the game. All right, a c6 from black, trying to stop that. I don't really understand that play at all. White wasn't making a vertical threat for c6. It was going to be at e6 or f5 or d6. c6 wasn't strong at all, and I don't understand that. All right,
Perhaps
but now
it's
white playing down at e1, going for that horizontal line, and also cutting off black's vertical. We may be seeing a d2 placement here from white, mostly to keep that double citadel away.
Perhaps it was to, perhaps c6 was played to set up potentially a rightwards threat from the wall stack if d6 and or e6 or f5 was played, so that the attack threat couldn't immediately be renewed with c5.
Yeah, maybe. And now we do have no attack threat currently, but white is no longer within 1 turn of making attack threat. Black cut that off with a wall right away, and that's a pretty decently placed wall too, because moving over onto c3 with that wall would cut off white's vertical and horizontal threats right away. At least initially. White can still place down at b2 or b1 to continue this horizontal line there at the bottom. And it looks like that's what they did, the b2 placement. I'm interested to see where this goes. But white is definitely in command here.
And Flip has more time than he started with. While
Yeah, he is
ManaT
playing
has
very
dropped
quickly. Manatee's
3
down below
minutes.
12 minutes now. And I'm not sure. I know ManaT is more accustomed to playing asynchronous games. He is the creator of the TACbot in the Discord server, which is the way most people play their asynchronous games these days. And so he has a lot of practice with that. Fwib, I'm not sure how much asynchronous he plays, but I also don't know how much blitz he plays. But he is playing fairly quickly. Not quite at my speed, I guess, but that's probably because he's playing much better.
I don't like the latest move from ManaT.
Yeah, he wanted to make that positive flag on differential move, but it didn't quite work for him. It also wasn't even a attack threat. And now he's got white coming over, able to capture now onto d5 and liberate that captive and work towards more vertical threats. And that capstone is now cutting off black's ability to go for the vertical just completely.
Oh, that captured us. What does that capture do?
Not much. White is able to replace at b3 or go ahead and just place at c5. I like placing at c5, but going for the b3 placement, now we're going to see that b2 wall come over onto c2. And he's counting on that one to really cut everything off for him. But I'm not sure that it's that strong of a play here.
I think Capstone can come down and there's some issues.
Yes, it definitely can. I think this is, yeah, where we're going to see
Or yeah.
b1 played. And now he can make this tack threat by playing at either a1 or b2. And the tack threat is with d2 coming down onto d1 and making that road. And so not a tack threat just yet, but it is a pretty solid position, and black's going to be careful here or he's going to get tenued. So he's got to take a lot of time here to make sure he is combating these threats well. And
I think
instead,
B2.
placing at f5. Now this is trying to go for more of an offensive move. I think he's trying to go for a horizontal threat. f5 all the way across, maybe playing at b6 and d6 later and smashing his own wall for the road. Now I don't think he has near enough time in order to do that. White is going to be able to make these threats down here first. He needed to do something about those threats at the bottom.
Now I think B2 is very strong. B2 not only connects to the horizontal thread, but also works towards the vertical one.
Yep. And that is exactly what white did here. Plays the b2, has the tack threat now. d2 minus would be a road. Black's got to do something about that. In addition, black's going to have to do something about white going for that vertical road pretty soon too.
No, that's Tinu. I'm pretty sure that's Tinu. Is that not?
White smashing the wall?
Yeah.
It depends. I think white can leave 2 flats on d4 and then bring 1 flat and leave it on d3 and then smash. And I don't think that would lose. Very close, but I'm pretty sure that would be Tinue.
Yeah. That doesn't look good for black at all.
I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. But if black does the stack movement wrong, or white moves the stack wrong and leaves the wrong amount of flats in the wrong places, he can give himself a loss here. So he's got to be careful about his move. But I'm pretty sure it would be Tinue if he smashes that stack. Oh no. No, it wouldn't, because the 2 flats on d3 are able to move left, dropping 1 and 1. So 2d3 left, 1, 1 is able to cut off both the vertical and horizontal thread at the same time. And I don't think white would be able to completely regain both of those. Not enough to make a a road at least. So it wouldn't be Tinue, but it might be the start of one, but that's a little too far to look at for me without PTN Ninja to analyze that game.
Indeed, it's a bit difficult to say conclusively right now. I believe fwwwwwibib is currently calculating it.
Yeah.
Because it is a very weakening move if it doesn't work, so...
Correct. And I don't think it does work, and I think he's figuring that out. He definitely has a lot of time built up, so he can look at this move and figure out what he wants to do with it. I have a hard time looking that far ahead with so many stack movements involved without PTN Ninja. Ooh, it looks like he did do it. So this is where Black's really only shot is to take 2d3 left to move it left 1-1. Because
Yes,
one can come down, make a road, can go up, make a road, and so the only linchpin to both of those is really b3. So
yes.
you can come across with d3, go left 1-1, and cover both of those up.
Let's hope ManaT sees the vertical, because it's harder to see. He does. But...
All right, and white can renew with maybe a2. Or a1. Either of those would renew the threat.
Maybe he can go 5d2 down. I don't see what black does against 5d2.
Yeah, 5d2 down would work. However, black's capstone can come all the way to e1, I guess. Though that would just leave white to place at d2, and that would, I think that
no,
would clinch it.
The capstone cannot go down all the way to e1 because it leaves a flat on e3, which connects back the vertical thread.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think 5d2 down is currently Tinue.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that is a solid move, but he's also taken his time to make sure he's not giving black enough momentum to create a road here. Because black is one move away from creating his own road threat. So white's got to be able to make a road threat that can't be stopped at the same time. And so I do think, yeah, I think that 5d2 minus move is Tinue, and I think that would do it for him. The only delaying moves that black would have would be e2 minus, which is stopped by the capstone coming right. And then 2b3 minus 1-2, which is just 1b2 minus to stop it. And if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about with all these numbers and letters and things like that, that's covered in the portable tack notation or PTN video on Tack University. And you can check that out. Portable tack notation is very easy to learn, and it's right over here off to the left as well. This is how we record these moves, and it's very, very easy to describe them, and that's the best way we've found out to talk about moves in a clear, concise way. All right, fwwwwwibib still taking a lot of time here, making sure that he's making the right move. Now, he may not see this 5d2 minus move, but I imagine we're going to see a fwwwwwib win here in the next few moves, regardless if he makes that move or a different one. Though black is in a very strong position right here, white just happens to be in a better one.
I think there are many moves that force win here. I'm also looking at something like... maybe not. I was thinking 5d2 right 1-4, which makes a vertical threat. But maybe that's not strong enough.
Goes for the a1 placement, and I think that one works also in the long run. But yeah, I think you were right with the 5d2 minus move. I think that was attenuate right away. This one I think leads to attenuate, but I think it takes a little longer. Black has to do something here to stop this threat.
Interestingly enough, Black can now stop this threat while making his own.
Yeah, can go for the d1 right move, which creates a vertical attack threat.
I think that allows White to take on e2 though.
It does. And then that is... Actually, that's not bad for Black. So let's say White takes d2. So let's say first Black takes d1 right onto e1. Boom, now he's got a vertical attack threat. Now White takes some of the stack from e2 and moves it over, or from d2 and moves over to e2. Then at that point, Black can take this d4 stack and do 2d4 minus 1, 1. Oh, but instead he just plays at b4 and gives White the road there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm not sure he didn't see that. He may have just given up and hoped White wouldn't see it. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that ManaT didn't see that. But as we've seen in many games, especially the ones I've played, including the one I played against ManaT where I just played a really, really dumb move that gave my opponent the win, that's exactly possible here as well. So White does take the win here. fwwwwwibib wins game 1 of this 2021 TAC Open Tournament match against ManaT. Alright folks, I decided to split this matchup into 2 separate videos, one for each game, just because of how long each game was. And this next game is absolutely awesome, and you should check that out for sure. And don't forget, check out the description down below for all things TAC, especially the Discord server, which is where you can find all sorts of TAC resources, including asynchronous play right there in the Discord itself, and finding all sorts of people to play with online in play TAC. So get in there, get on the Discord, get on play TAC, play some TAC, and until next time, have a great day and happy TACing.